This is not a normal banking scandal that we're faced with. This is a scandal of biblical proportions that is affecting the entire country, that is a national issue. It's a national security issue.
Bullets are not free. Shoulder-mounted rocket launchers are rarely on discount and displayed on shelves at the local dollar store. It takes money to finance and keep alive those around the world who have no other interest nor purpose in life but to kill whomever they desire. Money that has to be coming from somewhere, and that somewhere at times might shock you. Welcome into MidPoint, the CEO of Tactical Rabbit, an intelligence firm working with everyone from Fortune 500 companies to governmental agencies and everyone in between. Everett Stern joins us today from New York. Everett, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Everett, this caught our attention when we looked at a story that talked about the fact that there is a tremendous amount of activity for ransom in Europe from terrorist groups. And I don't think that people were quite aware, because certainly America says they won't deal with terrorists, but it seems to be almost a de rigueur daily thing that happens in Europe, does it not?
Yeah, no, it does, and it's a real issue. And one of the problems that we face right now is that, unfortunately, our government or our administration right now wants to deal with terrorists, except they want to deal with terrorists in favor of terrorists by allowing terrorist financing to get to them, and that's a major problem.
I want to point out in the soundbite we played at the beginning, talked about HSBC. You were a whistleblower in the HSBC money laundering scandal. You found billions of dollars in illegal money laundering transactions, led to an SEC investigation, an almost $2 billion fine against HSBC in 2012. This was a money laundering network. Explain to us what you found.
Yeah, sure. I mean, what I found was criminal manipulation of the wire filter, and there was hundreds of millions of dollars moving from Kariba Supermarkets, which is in Gambia, which is owned by the Tajain brothers, which are financiers of Hezbollah, and that money was being laundered through the U.S. and then back to Lebanon, and it was financing Hezbollah. And this is what was going on at HSBC. It's just one of the many examples, and consequently, the administration just decided to slap them with a $2 billion fine, which is 5 weeks of their profit, and that was it. And that's a huge problem, because we're giving the banks literally a blank check, and that money is going towards the financing of an IED that's blowing up one of our soldiers. And I think one of the huge issues here is that people don't understand that money laundering and this type of white-collar crime, you could say, really, these people have the blood of American soldiers on their hands. This is not just a simple, oh, you know, we're stealing $5 and that's it. This money is going to financing our enemies, and it's treason.
What about those, and I'm sure you've heard this, and I'm sure we'll hear this from others. If you get banks involved, multinational global banks that are involved, they will say, wait a minute, they'll put their hands up and go, we didn't know. We thought we were just making an honest transaction. We had no idea where it was going. There's far too many avenues for us to have to chase this down every single second, so how can we be held responsible? You know that's what they'll say, and you know they will still say it to this day, correct?
Yeah, and they're full of it, because I saw it with my own eyes. And I saw exactly what they were doing. I saw the wires. HSBC knows what they were doing. These other banks know what they're doing. And the wires don't lie. You know, we're talking, you know, names that are listed on the OFAC list, which is the OFAC sanctions list of people we can't do business with. Their names are in wire filters. That's illegal. So the banks can't get around it. The only thing that's preventing a major takedown of a bank is the Department of Justice. And might I add that right outside the FBI building in Philadelphia, it says that justice is the defense of our freedoms. And right now, our freedom is in major, major jeopardy.
Let me put it to you straight then. There is no doubt in your mind, not going to put words in your mouth, going to ask for your opinion on this though, but there is no doubt in your mind that banks like HSBC and others who are multinational global banks, they know that they are doing business with companies, firms, individuals, whomever, that are financing terrorism, correct?
Yes, and also they've admitted it. HSBC is part of the deferred prosecution agreement, and JP Morgan and Citibank, they have all admitted to these things. What I'm saying is nothing new. It's just for some reason the mainstream media is not covering the issue, and the American public don't understand that these banks are literally financing the next 9/11. And, you know, might I add as well, that Tactical Rabbit, my intelligence company, we just did an investigation into Students for Justice in Palestine. And what this is we're finding that they're sending money to Hamas, and this is a student organization that has wide branches throughout the United States. Our tax dollars are going to finance that. That doesn't make any sense, and that's wrong.
If you're sure of it then, and if they've admitted this, and if it's out there, why then is the Justice Department not jumping on this on an absolute daily basis and going after those whom there apparently is evidence are helping to finance killers?
Because the Department of Justice and Eric Holder unfortunately care more about causing a financial crisis than actually promoting justice. And what Eric Holder doesn't understand is that the next 9/11 is what will cause the next financial crisis. So we have to stop these people now, or we're dead. And having to do with the Gaza situation, you know, again, people are not understanding, and the administration is not understanding, that Palestinians are different than Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. U.S. aid that Barack Obama is sending to Hamas to help them, you know, better their people, is going to weapons and tunnels. And, you know, this is a terrorist organization that needs to be wiped off the map. And again, I'm not talking about the Palestinians. I'm talking about the terrorist organization Hamas. And I think this country needs to start taking terrorism much more seriously, because if we don't, innocent people are going to die.
And 30 seconds I have left here. 120 million in ransom in Europe flowed to groups, terrorist groups, from 2004 to 12, and since then, Al-Qaeda's branch alone in Yemen has collected at least $20 million in ransom money just to go ahead and fund what they're doing. Again, now I'm down to 20 seconds. You have no doubt that this money is also moving through these international banks on a day-to-day basis.
There's no question. It has to move through those banks. That's the only way money will move is through our banks. And the terrorists want it in U.S. dollars because the almighty dollar is the best currency to buy guns, bombs, and other types of terrorist devices.
Wow. I'll tell you, this is something that we need to watch, and we certainly will. Everett Stern from Tactical Rabbit, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. We will talk again.
Thank you, sir.
Boy, something to really think about. What's happening next? Next hour, another reason to wonder about the safety of that ultra mini small car you're driving. It's all coming up right here on MidPoint.